Hey guys, welcome to the jungle. So we are training for the South Thailand Motocross Championship, and today we're gonna talk about something that I think would be fun to make a video about that I haven't seen before on YouTube, and I like to watch a lot of YouTube motocross riders and coaches. And the topic is, how does it feel like inside the body of a pro rider with correct riding technique compared to being inside the body of a complete beginner motocross rider or an intermediate entry-level rider. And I'm actually able to make this video because I've been on both sides of the fence, so to speak. I did about 1 or 2 years training, just basically training with myself, with my club guys, without having any coaches, before I took a Masterclass, and then I realized that, oh boy, I have a lot of stuff to learn. And there's actually like different concepts that I was not even aware of that I'm gonna talk about in this video. So as you know, if you're a beginner, you experience that riding motocross is hard on your arms, and you find yourself developing arm pump. And you also find yourself sitting on the seat quite a lot, like heavy on the seat, and that's what you do when you get tired. And you don't feel a really strong connection with the bike through the legs, okay? So, and you also feel like, as a beginner, you also feel like you're easy to get tight with your arms, and you try to control the bike a lot with your arms. And all these things are exactly the opposite if you're riding more like a pro. So let's go through the riding position from the top and down. So most beginners, you know, they have the elbows down, and they don't really pay attention to being in contact with the bike with the legs. As soon as you have the elbows down, you feel that, oh, you're actually strong to pull the bike, like pull the handlebars when you gas it. But when you move the elbows out to this position, then you don't have that strength to pull the handlebars, so you have to compensate by actually developing balance, which uses this one. So you need to practice to always find the right balance point. Meaning, if you're getting on the gas, you need to compensate by moving further forward. And if you're braking, you can also relax in your arms if you move yourself backwards. So as a pro rider, one of the biggest differences is you're feeling a sensation of being very unlocked and loose in the arms all the time, and you're feeling more tight connected to the bike most of the time. And this is all based on a strong sense of balance, and I mean balance like back and forward on the bike, because if you're very well balanced all the time and in the right position, you will be able to generate just the right amount of pressure down into the grips. Instead of pulling the grips, there's a huge difference if you pull the grips or push on the grips. So by developing a body position through good balance, where you're always in the right position, so you're just generating a little bit of pressure down on the grip, you can completely eliminate this very basic bad habit of gripping too tight and pulling the handlebars all the time. So that sense of balance was something I never experienced before I got like some really good coaches. So that's something you should work on, and you can keep working on for a long time. But the best way to simplify it is just to work on always feeling a little bit of pressure. It's just like a few 100 grams. It's not a lot. You don't want to overdo it, because then you can develop an injury called skier thumb. It's something skiers they get when they crash with the sticks, and then they land really hard right here, and then they mess up the ligaments. Actually, Justin Barsha, he has had this injury as a nagging injury, because he's like super aggressive. He's riding the bike like this all the time, like very aggressive rider. It's a more aggressive position, or it's considered a more aggressive position if you're more forward on the bike. So the balance concept is like the main takeaway of, instead of pulling, then pushing. That's something I learned at that training camp, or that masterclass I took by some of the best riders in my country. And then let's move further down. You also want to have a 45-degree angle on your back, because that allows you to have mobility in your elbows, like having that loose feeling. So when the front wheel is going over bumps, the handlebars move up and down, and you just feel a strong sensation of being disconnected to the handlebars, like you're connected with the hands, but it's not affecting your body because you're just super relaxed and chilled out basically in your arms. And what I'm talking about here is the generally correct thing for most horizontal tracks and with jumps and stuff and bumps. But there's an exception. Like in motocross, there's always some exceptions to the rule. As you know, I've said it a few times, is whenever you're going up a hill where it's bumpy, it's okay to pull the handlebars because you need some traction, extra traction on the rear wheel. So that is a time where it's okay. Also, if you need to clear a jump that's close to a turn, or clear the whoops double, then it's okay that you just for a second invest some energy in building some more speed by pulling the handlebars and generating extra traction with full throttle, so you can get a better drive. But otherwise you can spend a whole lot of time, like you should spend most of the time, being completely chilled out in your arms when you're riding and just letting the elbows and the shoulders be completely unlocked when you're going over bumps on the track, and then feeling a more tight connection to the bike through the legs than through the arms and the hands. So that's what all beginners do opposite. They feel a strong connection to the bike through the hands, and they don't have any awareness of the connection really with the legs. So you need to like build a strong connection with the legs through the foot pegs and through the knees as well. And on a later stage, you also want to be working on riding with your chest up, tight core, hips tilted backwards. But in the beginning, the main priority should be to learn how to ride balanced, centered on the bike, which means you're actually practicing to synchronize your throttle control with your balance back and forward on the bike, so you're always basically pushing a little bit down into the grips instead of pulling. And that way I actually learned to ride without developing arm pump, which is like a really cool thing to be able to do as a motocross rider. Okay, and even in the sitting position, what I used to do as a beginner was I just found it's so nice and relaxing. You can just sit and relax on the seat because that's what it's there for, right? Yes, in some cases, if the track is completely smooth, then it's okay to sit and relax on the seat and you can go fast like that. But as soon as it starts to get bumpy, it's both uncomfortable and it's inefficient to actually sit and relax on the seat. Something I was not aware of when I didn't have a teacher. So that's another thing where pro riders, they actually don't sit heavy on the seat. The more bumpy it is, the more hard they push into the foot pegs, and basically in many cases they end up with no weight on the seat, but they're just in a position where they're ready to let all the bumps go up through the foot pegs. It's both better for your back, like from like a biological health standpoint, but it's also more efficient. Because when the weight goes into the foot pegs instead of behind on the seat here, it allows the bike to pivot around the foot pegs like titter-totter. And that creates more traction. And you know, traction can always equal more speed, because you can only go as fast as you have traction to carry. So yeah, now we went through the whole body position compared to how it feels like as a beginner versus a pro, from top to bottom. So I hope you found this interesting. And to summarize, you want to be as loose in the upper body as possible and ride the bike independently, as independent as possible from the handlebars, and let your riding be more relying on your leg connection to the bike. Also, your legs are way stronger. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you did, and see you on the next one.